this is Connor. I'm just here to tell you that this is a Frankenstein Wicked for Good episode, which essentially means that we've combined 2 episodes into one. The first episode had some technical difficulties, so we came back and reshot the second half of the episode. So the first few minutes are from the original, which includes our review and popcorn ratings from Trevor, Cassie, Lara, and Tiffany, and myself. And then after the break, it will then become everyone except for Trevor, who unfortunately was not able to make the reshoots. So I do apologize for this technical error and hope you enjoy the Wicked for Good episode. Welcome to the Cinefied Podcast, the show where we enlighten you on what film to watch next by breaking it down so you can decide if you should see it in theaters or wait to watch it at home. Today, we're going to talk about Wicked for Good. I'm your host, Connor. With me, I have Trevor, Lara, Cassie, and Tiffany. How are you guys doing today? You excited to talk Wicked?
Very good. Yeah, let's do it.
Obsessulated.
Aw, how cute.
Now, as you can already tell, one of us is much more into the lore than but as I mentioned, we are talking about Wicked for Good. This is a long-awaited sequel. I mean, it's been a year, but the whole series of films has been long-awaited since the musical debut. This is quoted as the epic conclusion of the Wicked double feature. And while I'm sure we all will have mixed opinions about the film, one thing is for sure, the general critic consensus compared to the first one is much different. This one is definitely delivering on a sour note as far as critics go. This film has quite a lot of things to talk about. We got actors that can't sing, controversial cinematography, costume design, weird behind-the-scenes antics, and much more that we'll probably discuss in this conversation. The premise for Wicked for Good goes: Elphaba, the future Wicked Witch of the West, in her relationship with Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, the second of a 2-part feature film adaptation of the Broadway musical. You can check out Tiffany's full review on Cinefied.com, and in that review, she states, many of the major story beats happened quickly and didn't feel totally earned, making it feel more like a daytime soap opera. Before we go into our spoiler-free thoughts, we're going to dive into each of our individual popcorn ratings for those unfamiliar with the Cinefied system. The full popcorn is a must-see, a half popcorn is a maybe, and a empty popcorn is a mistake, meaning you should just skip out on it, both streaming and in theaters. So let's go ahead and start with Lara. Are you going to go with full, a half, or a spilled?
I'm going to go with a full because it is so cinematic that I do feel like it's beautiful to see it on a big screen.
All right. Yep. That's valid. Trevor, go ahead with your rating.
Oh boy. This is a big ol' spilled empty bag for me.
All right. Cassie, what about you?
Oh, since it's the season of giving, I'm going to go with a half. I think the daytime soap opera comment is very, very accurate.
All right. So very split so far. Tiffany, what do you think?
I'm going to go based on the rating that I gave in my review, half. My half leans more on the full side than the empty side, but it's definitely a good half.
All right. And I also agree with you. I'm giving it a half, but it's definitely leaning as of right now up towards the full. But definitely there's enough complaints as of the first watch that I have to give it a half. So those unfamiliar with the Cinefied Podcast, we don't always do this, but at the end of the podcast, if I feel like we've had a big enough conversation that opinions may have changed, we will go over the popcorn ratings again at the end and see if they've changed. But as of right now, this is what we have. So I want to just kind of start with our history with Wicked. Are you familiar with the Broadway musical? Have you only seen the first film, such as myself? There you go. That's my history. Or have you read the book? So let's go ahead and start with Lara again on that one.
Yes, I read the book. I saw it on Broadway 3 times. And then I've seen the first movie in the theater 3 times and at home probably another couple. So yeah, I know it pretty well.
And Cassie?
Yeah, I saw the musical with my parents back, like, I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago when it was traveling around. I think I saw it in Appleton, and I enjoyed it. I've always loved the music, and then I saw the first one in the theater, and then I watched it again at home.
All right. And Trevor?
Wicked is very new for me. My mom really loves the musical. That's kind of how I know is vicariously through my mom. But honestly, I've never actually seen the Wizard of Oz until early last year, which is actually a major blind spot for me. So,
well, I have to ask, did you like Wizard of Oz?
Oh yeah, I think it's a phenomenal movie. It's a fantastic, soulful, beautiful film, I think. Leading up to this, my theater obsessed partner was really excited for this. So I saw these two films have really been my only exposure to the Wicked story.
Okay. And Tiffany, what about you?
I haven't read the book, never seen the Broadway stage play. I always wanted to, but it just never happened. And it took me a really long time to watch the first movie when it came out last year. I don't think I watched it till like months later, and I was like homesick from work, but I like fell in love with it immediately. So I really was excited to see this one because I love the first one. I don't know how many times I've watched it. So, but I do have kind of an inkling on what was to come for this one, just because I've seen a lot of the videos on YouTube of like this stage play, and I was very familiar with the part 1 songs. So this one I wasn't too sure on how it was gonna play out, but I kind of knew some of the plot points, if that makes sense. So
we'll just stop there as far as our spoiler-free kind of thoughts, and then we'll just dive into spoilers in case any come up, and I'm sure they will. But I just want to go head first into it, something that we should have gone over the first time around. As someone that has seen the musical, is there anything that really divulges or detours elsewhere in this or the first film, or is it very much like paint by the numbers, they put the musical on the screen? Is there any additions or things being removed?
I don't remember the little tiny things, honestly.
Yeah, they've added a couple of songs here. They gave Elphaba 1 and Glinda 1 so that there are like things to submit for awards, probably. But yeah, and I didn't love either of the new songs, honestly. They were okay for me, but not as good as, the ones we were all kind of looking forward to hearing and seeing were For Good, which is, kind of the ultimate theme from the musical. And then the duet between Elphaba and Fiero, which I can never remember the name of it, but it's like basically, when they get together.
It's not very memorable, unfortunately. It's not in the movie.
The only thing I remember about that scene is the sex cardigan,
of course.
which has gotten a lot of press. I believe that that term was coined by a New York Magazine writer. It's brilliant because, like she does, put on this warm. Well, we'll talk about it later, but it's hilarious. It's a hilarious reference because that did take me out of the movie when I saw it on the screen. I was like, "What? Why is she getting all bundled up for her night with Fiero?
Why isn't it black? Like, why is it the one thing that she has that isn't black is her sex cardigan?
So many questions. The costume department does such a good job on so many of the costumes. But I feel like the sex cardigan was a little bit of a missed mark, but
And we'll circle back to our feelings about the costume and makeup. But first, because we did hit the 2 new songs that are in here, and Lara, we know your opinion on it as far as the two new songs, but as far as the rest of the songs in this one compared to the original, or not, well, the first part, I guess is the way, not the Broadway musical. Do you think that this song is just as good? I mean, this film is just as good as far as songs, or do you think that this one's lackluster? I personally thought that this film had a lot more lackluster songs than the first one. Agreed. And I wasn't as invested in the singing, I guess, throughout. But I saw this musical recently that was horrible as far as the music. So at least this one, I actually could kind of like understand what they're saying and kind of feel the emotions in the songs, even though, yeah, it's definitely in comparison kind of a flop compared to the first one. But do you guys feel the same, or was this actually more your thing than the first film? Anyone feel one way or the other?
I mean, I feel like all the songs, for the most part, that Wicked is really known for were featured in the first film. Like Popular and Defying Gravity, I feel like are the most famous songs from Wicked. So part of it is kind of, it's kind of by design. I feel like that because, of course, the buildup of the first half of a story is going to be a little more fun and a little more silly. So, I like to try and give it some grace as a whole there. But yeah, music wise, really nothing stuck out to me in part 2 except for good.
Does anybody else have anything? Or
I really because I listened to the soundtrack like by itself, like from the Broadway musical, and I like the song at the beginning of part 2 where they're singing, where it's Glinda and I think Madame Morrible is in there, and then and then it's like the Ozians are also singing. I can't remember what that one's called, but I did like that one. I like that one a lot because I also like it in the soundtrack. So I'm like, oh, I was actually really excited to see that one. But I surprisingly did really like Girl in the Bubble. I thought it was really cute. I pretty much like both of their original songs, but I also was like, well, I wish we used that time for other things, but
I felt that way about the Wizard song when he started singing. I'm like, oh, I guess it's time to go to the bathroom real quick.
Agree.
So Arrivo and Grande have had some notorious weird antics off screen, some that are much more in the positive than negative, such as Arrivo kind of pushing the guy that was trying to harass her on the red carpet out of the way. But then there's also a lot of weird kind of touching and just conversations that happen during interviews. Do you think that when it comes to their on-screen chemistry, do you think that is just as kind of weird and awkward, or do you think it works really well in the film? I think like outside of the film, I think their chemistry is very awkward to me personally, and kind of like off-putting. But as far as in the film, I think it really works. I think they're like second to none in chemistry. Do you guys have any opinions on that?
Sure. I mean, it seems in real life genuine to me. Like it does seem like there's a genuine, caring, almost weirdly codependent relationship between the two of them. I don't know their life, but it is a little strange to watch. But I do love their on-screen chemistry a lot. And again, I think that's why this one didn't do it for me as much as the first one, because they had so much more screen time together. And so when you lose the two of them together, you lose that magic that made Wicked, Wicked, because they just weren't together a lot of the time.
Yeah, and one of the best examples that one of us gave on the last recording was that it feels very much like the later seasons, a revival of Arrested Development, because it's very shot very different. It's very separated. Each character is separated from one another, so it just doesn't feel as magical as the original original series. So circling back to the songs briefly, I have been hearing nonstop things online about Michelle Yeoh being miscast. For those that have seen it on Broadway or the musical, is that true? Is she miscast? And do you think that they should have went with someone that can actually sing? Anybody?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think she looks beautiful. I think she acts very nicely in the role. But no, her singing is a distraction, and I'm shocked that with vocalists on the screen like Arrivo and Grande and Bailey for that matter, I'm shocked that they went with this choice for this role for Madame Morrible.
I don't know if it's true, but I just like an hour or two ago someone online saying that Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso auditioned. And I'm like, my heart hurt because she has such a beautiful voice. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. She would have killed it.
She would have killed it. Yeah. I mean, if that's true, it feels like a missed opportunity because, yes, love Michelle Yeoh, but this was just not, I don't know.
Yeah, if that is true. Yeah, if that is true, that's as far as singing, it's definitely unfortunate. But it's definitely because director John M. Chu has a soft spot for Michelle Yeoh because they work together on Crazy Rich Asians, and I'm sure they're friendly. But the CGI, the cinematography, the costume design, the makeup, and they've all been up for discussion Just everything about the film in general has been up for discussion. But for me, the cinematography is the biggest one that is always put on blast. And I personally didn't have an issue with it. I think it looks perfectly fine. Do you guys think that there is an issue with the cinematography or anything else regarding the way that it's shot? Tiffany, do you?
Well, one of my biggest issues with the first film was I did not like the cinematography. There are like the cinematography in terms of like the camera movements. I feel like it had a lot of fun, but like the color grading was so bad. I thought the lighting was bad. I had such a hard time with like the daylight shots with the sun. Like it's like blown out by the sun, like in the library and like outside where she's reading in like the field, like Alphaba, like during that song. And like, it just felt so drowned out. And I feel like because this movie takes place a lot in the Emerald City and a lot like it's, if it's in the forest, it's like more in like the evening or at night. So it didn't feel so colorless. I don't know. And maybe that's just my eyes, but I felt like this movie had a lot more vibrancy. And it just popped a little more, but in turn, like it didn't really do much with the like shot by shot. It wasn't that like creative. I feel like they just kind of kept it simple, but which is fine. But I think I earlier in our other recording I talked about that shot that they hold on Ariana Grande's face for like pretty much like a good minute, where like she just finds out that like Alphaba and like Fiyero are like in love and they run off, and then there's like the wizard and Morrible like behind her like discussing, and you can hear what they're saying, but they never cut to them. It just sits on her, and it like really just like, I don't know, I just thought it was so smart and it was so good, and that's like the one thing that's like probably one of my favorite parts of this whole part. So yeah, I mean it's a great shot. Yeah, definitely focus on the emotion of Glinda, and like it shows that it's like this is kind of like this is Glinda's movie, kind of, for me at least. It kind of showed a little bit. Like the last movie felt like Alphaba's movie. This one kind of felt like this is Glinda's side of all of this as this is happening. So I just thought that was smart. Anyone else on the cinematography before going to another subject?
I just kind of feel nothing about it, which I guess is fine because it means it's not terrible, but I'm also not like, oh, wow, it was so good. It's just kind of a blindness for me. Yeah, it's not like watching like Wizard of Oz and being blown away by the way that it's colored.
I definitely thought there were some beautiful shots here and there. I really loved the tulips. They planted real tulips. John Chu insisted on it, and I forget the number. I want to say it's like 40,000 or 400,000, but they planted all these real tulips, and there are several scenes where they kind of pan back and show this just gorgeous field of tulips outside of Oz, the Emerald City. And I mean, there were definitely a couple of other scenes too. I thought as much as the Girl in the Bubble song was a little bit just kind of like fluff to me, the cinematography during that song, like it was like an Ariana Grande music video. I mean, it's just very beautiful.
All the mirrors and stuff that was
cool. And the staircase, the giant staircase, and her costumes are just
the best,
gorgeous.
Her dresses are my favorite parts of the movies, I think,
for sure.
The costume design as a whole, I really liked up until we got to the Wizard of Oz part of it, which we'll get into very quickly. But first, I want to kind of talk about the hair and makeup, because for me, one of the least favorite aspects was the distracting hairstyle of Nessa, which is the sister, the evil Wicked Witch of the East. And it's such a bizarre choice. And as we kind of went over it, it's probably because you're not supposed to think that she's like likable, and it's supposed to make her kind of seem, I don't know, like a politician, I guess. I don't know.
Doesn't it also kind of look like what the Munchkins had their hair like in the original Wizard of Oz?
It did,
that's what it made me. I don't know if it was just like a cute little wink to that or something. I have no idea, but it did make me think of that kind of.
I was gonna say like it it kind of is like a lopsided bun happenings, and I'm wondering if it's just like because her character is about to like go kind of full tilt when she goes like when she turns heel, so it's like she's about to be lopsided. She's also got like the very pointy shoulders. They're not really shoulder pads, but they're like pointy shoulders. That's like she's gonna.
They look mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a little menacing. So
Yeah.
Prickly.
Menacing.
Yeah, she looks prickly.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
They a lot of asymmetry in the costuming, which I typically love symmetry. So it's always a little jarring for me. Like anytime I see the asymmetrical hemlines on the like Fanny and who's the other little flunky of Glinda, their suiting is always like kind of asymmetrical, and I was like, oh God, no, I would fix that. But so maybe that's another just John Chu thing, or whoever does the hair and costuming. Maybe they just like that asymmetry. I mean, I don't know what it means. It must mean something,
Yeah.
Everything's very intentional with this film.
When it's another factor is to look into is the CGI. I personally thought like certain aspects of the CGI really held up, and as we established, this is I think $150 million budget, so it's a hefty budget, but I think it looks really good. But like the monkeys look really good. I think most of Oz looks really good, and as Lara established, there are real elements here. You got the flowers. But I do think that there's one element that really threw me off. Well, two, I guess. And one is the opening, I believe opening fight scene where Elphaba is basically taking care of people that are building the Yellow Brick Road. And it looks like obvious green screen. And it just looks really poor to me. It just doesn't like it. And there's like comedic music kind of like happening during it. It's like it feels very off. Like, it definitely in comparison to the rest of the film that is much more serious up to a point. So that the CGI felt very weird. And then the Jeff Goldblum de-aging felt very unnecessary.
Oh, God. I had forgotten, and now it's back in my head.
That was painful.
If you can not show Dorothy like at all, like her face, like you don't need to show a young Jeff Goldblum.
No.
Did they think maybe people hadn't grasped fully that it was him? Who like was that why they felt like they needed to show his face?
No, because I saw people arguing online like for the last year about who that man was, and there were people like, yeah, it's obviously him, and people were like, no, and I'm like, I'm wondering.
And it's like this is information that is out there, you guys.
Right.
Like,
I don't know, but yeah, that first scene though that you're talking about, Connor, where it's like, it is creepy, and like I know what you're saying. It's a little disjointed because you're not sure if it's supposed to be like a lighthearted scene, because then it like cuts to her just like dangling in the air with like her creepy cape, like, and it kind of looks almost like horror-esque. It like kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, okay, that's actually really scary. And you're like, I'm like, wait, am I supposed to laugh? Because it kind of like cuts to her, like pans to her. I don't remember, but it just kind of like shows her up in the air, and I'm like, I'm not sure like what we're supposed to be. Are we supposed to be scared? Like, are we like, because they all kind of just seem pissed. So I don't know. It's just very weird. So I agree with you. That was kind of it is kind of weird.
But I think there's, to me personally, and I know we all differ. I think I differ the most on this part. There's a tonal shift that happens near the middle involving a fight scene between Elphaba and Glinda. And I think it didn't work at all. It feels very B-movie. It feels very much a different movie than this. But how do you all feel about that fight sequence in particular, where they're basically going at each other after the death of Elphaba's sister?
It feels like a different movie, but in a good way, because it's like that's what I've been wanting this whole time. Yeah. Like, give me more of this energy. Yeah, exactly.
Like the first time, like in a lot, like most of like we do see them together more at the beginning of the movie, but it like took so long for us to get to that point that we were like, oh, this is the like dynamic that we miss, and now it's like, I don't know, he's like kind of almost over, and like, is this all we're gonna get? But it was so funny that I don't know, I just love Ariana Grande like mocking her. Like it was just so good. Her like trying to like flip her cane around, and her just throwing it down, and she's like her wand, and she's like, like it's so good.
And then they just go hand to hand at that point.
Ariana Grande being the one to be like, oh, you're always taking things that aren't yours. I was like, girl. I had a chuckle there.
I think because I'm a scrappy person that I just was like, I just love seeing the scrap. I just love seeing it. I was like, just more of that. I loved it.
Yeah, same.
It was like the twirling of the baton, and then when Elphaba does like the evil laugh, and she like mimics the evil laugh. It's like, what was that?
That was funny. Yeah, it was funny. I needed that at that point in the movie.
I loved because this movie is so much more serious than the first one. The first one had such great comedic moments with Glinda, and so the fight scene for me was one of my top 3 favorite scenes in the movie. I mean, it was just so funny, and it felt very like real, like this is how 2 best friends really would go at each other, and is cute.
And one of the large pieces of the story in the first film is the animal rights and how they're trying to basically make them not lose their humanity, their speaking voice, and become just pure animals. It feels like it's just kind of dropped off here. It feels
I feel like they shoehorned that in this movie.
It feels like there is a bigger. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. It was like I forgot there was like such a good chunk of the movie where I forgot that was kind of most of the point of like Elphaba's at least arc, and then by the end, Glinda's like, oh yeah, by the way, like I forgot, you guys can come out now. It's all good. And we're all just like, what? Oh, I forgot about that. I don't know. It was just, I feel like it could have been a more momentous plot or like a beat where it's like, oh yes, the animals, but then it was just kind of like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, by the way. So
the flying monkeys being freed, I thought was kind of like when Jeff Goldblum's like, I don't know how we're going to do that without my flying monkeys. It's like, she just let them out of the cage. Like they've been out of cages before. Like why couldn't
I thought it was gonna be a trick. I was like, he was like, here's the key, and then I'm like, okay, what? Like, is there like a twist that I don't remember happening? Like, is there like something that they took a liberty on? I'm like, oh, that's
I guess the twist was supposed to be that he had all those other ones hidden, right?
Yeah,
I guess, but it didn't
I know
what you
feel
mean.
like it because it happened one right after the other.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It also felt like an odd choice that there was, and it's been I haven't watched the first Wicked since probably January, but I feel like the first one had like a good amount of heart, like related to this professor animal character played by Peter Dinklage. Yeah, and then they choose to not have him speak at all, which it makes sense when he's like being like he's caged, he's incarcerated, but then at the end he's revealed to be back in his classroom, doesn't say anything.
Right.
Yeah, they really missed a "there's no place like home" quote from Dinklage.
Yeah,
for real. Oh my God.
It's like they didn't want to pay him the money to be in the sequel.
Think about how much that would have cost.
Yeah. But is there anything else as far as the CGI, the cinematography, the costume design, anything of topic aside from the Wizard of Oz characters? We're going to dive into that next.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say really quick that I just think that this runtime could have been. I feel like they have I think they had like the same, if not more, ground to cover than the first movie with a shorter runtime, and I'm just not sure if that's fair. And I just like because the first movie was 240. And that's a pretty long movie. Like, you kind of, like, there's so many parts where you're like, oh, we haven't even gotten to that part yet when you rewatch it. And then, like, this movie was, like a speed run. And I was like, oh, there's so many parts where I just felt weren't fleshed out totally. A lot of things that I wasn't sure that, you know, like, I had an idea of how these things would happen and, like, that happened in the play. But I was like, oh, for sure, like, they'll be more fleshed out because it's a movie. And now I'm, like, kind of like, oh, maybe it's just kind of... Was part 2, like, did it feel like it was kind of rushed in the play? Do you guys remember all this stuff?
I don't remember at all.
I don't remember. I was just like, I don't know.
Is there, like, in the play, I imagine, like, there's like, an intermission, probably, at this point? Okay, that's... Because I was wondering if, like, it's actually, like, the intermission is, like, the break between the movies, or if he was just like, this seems like a good stopping point for a movie, you know?
Yeah. So. I mean, that's another conversation. Like, honestly, like, could this have just been one movie? Like, could you have just made this one 3-hour movie? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, that was the plan. But that was the plan at first. And then John Chu was just like, I can't do that. So that's what caused it to be delayed.
I think he could have done it.
Lara, what were you going to say?
Oh, just one other scene that we actually didn't talk about in our first record of this is the For Good scene where Elphaba and Glinda are saying goodbye to each other, and it's extremely emotional. And I read an article that interviewed John Chu, and he said that the actresses improvised the door scene during rehearsal. They were singing the song to each other. And I don't know if you remember, but basically it's this incredibly emotional moment where they're saying goodbye, and then they end up on either side of the door. And one of them, I think Elphaba, kind of rests her forehead and her hand on the door. And then Glinda is doing the same thing on the other side. They can't see each other. They don't know each other are doing it. And I found that that's such a tender and you know, I was bawling. I could barely see the screen. And I just, I thought that was so well done. And I love that Chu is giving, you know, the ladies credit for kind of staging that or blocking that themselves, because they just both felt like they didn't want to cut after the song, and so they kept acting, and I thought that was really beautiful.
That is really cool. I'm glad. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that could be a good testament to like their actual relationship in real life with each other. You know, like they do have a connection. You know, I could see that. So that's neat.
Yeah, it's a really cool split screen shot, like for sure. And literally the day before I watched this, I watched the Fall Guy, which had a whole 20-minute segment about split screens and why if they're useful or not in movies.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Last CGI thing, because it just clicked into my head, and I am curious if you all have an opinion about where exactly Elphaba was in this scene. But at one point after Jonathan Bailey's character gets strapped to the post, like she flies away to safety somewhere that's like like above water by chance, and it's like a bunch of it's like there's things like stuff above her, like poles above her, poles below her, and then there's just like I don't know. I was like, it looks like kind of like piece of the wood sticking out of the water. I was just like, where is she? Like, this isn't the cave she was in earlier.
Are you talking about the castle?
Yeah, the broken.
Are you talking about?
It didn't seem like she was in a castle there though, but like it didn't seem like that.
Because Fiyero told her, my parents don't use this one castle on the edge of our country. You know, that could be your new hideaway. Like you could be safe there. And so I think that's where she ends up. And it's kind of a very kind of gothic looking old falling down castle. I don't know if that's the same place you're thinking of,
where
Connor.
she brings the monkeys.
Right.
That is what. Okay, so does he bring that up in like during the?
It's when you went to get snacks.
When I went to the restroom.
Yes.
and I mixed the sex cardigan.
It was
which
I
feel like
it was the post-sex laying event. I think. Yeah.
It was their.
Why is the sex cardigan such a big deal? Why is that a topic of conversation? Since I was not there for it, I walked out of the theater, not for the reason that it was happening, because I had to go to the bathroom. So go ahead and tell me.
All right, I'll go ahead and take a stab at this. I think it's hilarious. Basically, she takes Fiyero to her cave. It's like kind of a treehouse / cave, and they're like, she's like, I can't believe you came, and he's like, declaring his love, whatever, and they're about to hook up, and she takes off her cloak, which makes sense, but then she puts on this like very chunky knit gray like duster cardigan that's like
cute to be very clear. Like it's a cute cardigan. I would wear it.
I'm sure it'll be an Anthropologie in a week.
Yeah,
it's not already there. It's totally an Anthropologie cardigan. Like no, it's not the cardigan itself. It's that she puts it on right before hooking up with Jonathan Bailey, and then as if that's not weird enough, like she still has it on after they hook up, and we don't get to see any lovely.
Did you
green
take it off?
skin.
If she had put it on after, I feel like
that makes sense. Yeah, like or put it on when you first get home, but then let him take it off or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess also they know they have a lot of little girls in their audience, so maybe the sex cardigan is actually a modesty cardigan. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But it was off-putting for me. I was like, really?
It was the most disappointing.
Yeah,
we need to rewrite it. Let's do a fanfic.
Maybe it was a studio note. So
maybe.
Yeah.
So going into my least favorite part of the film, which is the Wizard of Oz aspect of this, I personally, as you listening or watching know, we've gone into spoilers, but this part is very much like it just pisses me off as a Wizard of Oz fan because it just doesn't feel loyal to those characters. Obviously we don't know a lot about the Wicked Witch of the West. Like she's just bad in the Wizard of Oz. We don't know a lot about Glinda the Good. Like we don't know a lot about those characters in the Wizard of Oz, but we know a lot about the Lion, the Cowardly Lion. We know a lot about Tin Man. We know a lot about Scarecrow. And we know a lot about Dorothy. And I feel like they kind of don't give enough credit to these characters. Like they basically, especially Tin Man above all, kind of like irked me because they made him a vengeful person towards the witch because he is convinced by the now deceased Nessa that her sister was the one that caused the spell. So how do you guys feel about these characters and their involvement in this film? Do you think there should have been more of them? Should they have gone with the way of the Wizard of Oz film? And do you think Dorothy should have been shown?
I don't think Dorothy should have been shown. I wanted to see more of Fiyero and Bach. I wanted to see more of them, like in the film. Because I felt like they just felt like afterthoughts this time around, which sucked. And I wanted to see literally, like physically, their transformations into these characters. Kind of like you have this huge budget, like that would have been cool. I would have wanted to see, Jonathan Bailey become Ryan Reynolds. Like I want to see that, but they left it to our imagination, which that's a choice. Sometimes that works, but this just kind of felt like a cop out. I was like, man, like I would like to see it.
And see, I have the opposite view because I would have liked to see less of them. I thought they showed us too much. One of the things I love about the stage production of the musical Wicked is that the Wizard of Oz elements are kind of just hinted at. They're not overt. They're very subtle. And it's like, you kind of pick up on it and you're like, you get goosebumps. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a nod to this. That's a nod to this from the old, from the Wizard of Oz. And here I felt like they gave us too much and I didn't like what they gave us. I didn't like how angry and bitter Tin Man was. Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz is the kindest soul, right? Like he keeps crying out of tenderness for others' emotions and they have to keep oil canning his little face. This Tin Man is bitter and mean and I just don't get it.
And like the one good scene we see of him, he's just like, it's like, they're in the Emerald City and it's only like two of them and then like where's the rest of the group and then he just like looks up at Glinda and I'm just like I'm not understanding how this is all connecting. I don't know if they
I don't know what the thought was there. I really don't like it. I think if that's all they were going to give us of Tin Man and the Scarecrow, then I would have liked less, not more. Yeah.
And then go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it was very jarring to see Jonathan Bailey with burlap skin because it really made me feel some type of way where I was like, that cannot be good for Elphaba in the future, and I did not. I felt really weirded out by it.
We don't know all of him is burlap.
That's true.
Since she was the one who cast the spell,
guess.
maybe she kept a little something for herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's her for good,
Yeah.
The lion character, which I thought that was also kind of a bizarre choice of it being the lion cub, right? You call lions cubs when they're young. Yeah, being released out of the imprisonment to go learn how to speak and be amongst like its own kind, and then it's cowardly from that. And I was very like off put by that. I didn't really understand why he was so vengeful towards someone that freed him, but I also thought it being Coleman Domingo behind the voice, which I didn't really grab at the time of watching. I knew he was going to play the lion, but it just felt very weird that they cast such a phenomenal actor to say two lines. But
and then Peter Dinklage to say none.
Yeah.
Bogus. No.
But as far as the Wizard of Oz elements, is there anything else that you think should have been like done differently? Do you think that because obviously this is supposed to be not directly, like you can't put Wizard of Oz in the timeline of this movie because there's differences that happen and the characters don't have the same. It's very similar journeys, but there are differences. So you can't just like be like, okay, this is where I can watch Wizard of Oz, and then pinpoint where all the stuff happens in Wizard of Oz. I don't like the elements of Elphaba, I guess, being alive at the end, I guess, just because it doesn't make sense with Dorothy being right in front of her. And it's like a trapdoor situation, I guess, which we kind of brought up that it's kind of a now you see me type moment, maybe. But
she is very powerful. She could have made herself disappear. Like, who knows? I don't know.
But if she's gonna make herself disappear, why disappear in the trapdoor right underneath you?
Well, she was just hiding there at the time. I don't know why I'm trying to defend this. No, it was funny though, because I went to see it with my biological mom, and she did not know the story of Wicked, so she was like shocked when she was still alive. She was like, "What?" And I was like, "Again, this is not new information."
See, I also didn't know she was still alive. I was like, "Oh, they're sticking with that she melted," which I was like, First of all, I wanted to just say, like, the fact that it's like she melted and the only thing left is the hat, when that's a piece of clothing. It's like, where's the rest of her clothes? But yeah, that I was like, okay, well, we haven't seen the Scarecrow. I'm like, of course the Scarecrow has to pop up. Like, we're not just gonna end it with like no Scarecrow.
I thought maybe they weren't going to. I was like, are they never gonna show him? Like, I want to see his face at least. Like, I wasn't sure.
And it is full of prosthetics. It's full of makeup. Like, people online think it's CGI, which I think, I mean, it looks like prosthetics. So
it looks real, I think.
But yeah, that was like after we finished the first recording, I was on Twitter, and it was like, people were like, "Oh, it's actually real." Yeah, it's real.
Yeah,
it's like, that's the power of makeup.
That's where they skipped on the budget. Yeah.
This film is performing extraordinarily well. So with it performing so well, there are talks, rumblings, rumors, so whatever you want to call it, about them possibly doing an original take on a third film if they were to extend out this universe beyond the play musical. That we know it as. Do you think that it's a worthy franchise to continue on with, or do you think they should just leave it as it is? And probably, do you think they should continue this story, or do you think they should remake Wizard of Oz? I guess or do you think they should leave the property alone for now?
Don't remake Wizard of Oz. Don't even put that out there. Don't even put that.
It's in their head. I know it's in their head. So. And that might be why he included so much of them in this. It's they can be like, we could tell that story now. So, but it's like, what do you guys think? Is that something you're open to?
I love the world building, and I love how it builds kind of further on from Oz and gives us more visuals and the talking animals and all that good stuff. So yeah, I would count me in for a third. I'm hoping it's not a continuation. I'm hoping it's just something a little different, but in the same world, but yeah, I'm in. Pink and green go well together. What can I say? I really like them both. I'm in.
Tiffany, are you down for a third entry, or what would you suggest?
It depends on what the story is. If it's like a spinoff and it's in this world, sure. If they're just gonna try to cover what they didn't fully flesh out in this movie, I don't really see how they'd make that work. Like, I'm sure I'd see it, but I'm also just like, I kind of wish they fleshed it out a little bit more in this movie. I feel like there was a lot they could have done. But if there's a director's cut or something of this movie where there is more content, I'm definitely willing to see that for what that is. We'll see. But yeah, I'm just kind of indifferent about it.
I'm hoping that, and it's very most likely not going to happen, but I'm hoping that they release it not in theaters, but at home, kind of like the Kill Bill, the whole body affair type deal, like meld them together, make it all in one film.
I think that might be.
I
like it more.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I mean, and you have films that are very long that, like, still Tarantino real quick, say The Hateful Eight, that one knew that it was excessively long, did an intermission. Like, you can do that, combine them into that, or, you never know. I would prefer to watch them back to back. And I think that's, if it is intended to be one solo film, a 4.5 hour, 4.5 hour, right? If you combine the runtimes.
Probably.
But yeah, I think that I would rather it be just continuously all the way through rather than disc out, put disc in. It makes me motivated to watch the whole story. So I think that's the end of our discussion. We're just going to quickly dive into our thoughts on if this is still a mistake. Well, actually, no one had a mistake. So a full or maybe, or if someone has changed a mistake, that's open for possibility. I'm going to stick with a half. I think that it's a maybe watch. In the theater, I think that you should watch it at some point if you've seen the first film. I think it's a fine conclusion. It has elements that I did not like, and the songs were there all over the place as far as my enjoyment. But overall, I think it's definitely something you should go out and see in theaters if you have a willingness to. But just be wary of crowds because some of them might be more into singing along than some would be wanting to happen at their theater experience. My crowd was perfectly fine, but I've definitely heard, I think, from some of us here that the crowds can be a little, all over the place. So I'm sticking with a half. Tiffany.
I am also going to stick with a half because I kind of could have went either way with it. I'm glad I went and saw it in the theater, but I also could have seen it at home and probably felt the same way about it. So, but I think I would suggest if you really, really like this series to go, this play and the first one, then treat yourself, go see it. But maybe go see it on go see it in the morning during a matinee. If you really just want to be in peace.
Save a few dollars, yeah.
Lara?
Yeah, full popcorn all the way. I think it's really visually beautiful. I think Arrivo and Grande give it their all and sing their hearts out, and there's just a lot of emotion conveyed. And I find some flaws with the story here and there, but overall it's very cinematic and worth seeing in the theaters.
And Cassie?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with my half a popcorn. I didn't have a bad time watching it. It was fine. I love the dresses. I love some of the acting and singing. I wanted to feel more. I wanted it to make me feel more, and I just didn't feel as much as I wanted to, and that I think the first film made me feel. So I'm sticking with my half.
I do think that these two films as a whole, I think, are much better than what they could have been. So even as they currently are, I think it could have turned out so much worse, just from the production hell it was going through, getting it made, the fact that they delayed it so long to split it into two films. There's so much behind the scenes nonsense that could have derailed this. So I think overall, I think we all agree that this is a decent enough depiction of the world of Oz. All right, that concludes our Wicked for Good discussion. So thanks for listening to the Cinefied Podcast. You can find more of our episodes as well as our written reviews, interviews, retrospectives, and so much more on Cinefied.com. In 2026, we're going to have a lot of exclusive first priority content on Patreon.com. So make sure to go check us over there. It's just Patreon.com/Cinefied. And be sure to follow us on Letterboxd. We are going to be updating all of our reviews over there. If you don't want to follow us on any other platform, Letterboxd is a great platform to go check out if you're a movie fan. So make sure to go pop some popcorn, grab a drink, and remember, stay cinefied. See you guys on the next one.